Now let's move on to the Port A Cath system. A Port A Cath system, port catheter, is used for prolonged delivery of, for example, chemotherapy or nutritional solutions. This system is completely hidden underneath the skin. This chamber is sutured onto the chest muscle and is punctured transcutaneously. The application of fluid into the vein is therefore always safe. A Port A Cath consists of a flexible catheter, port chamber, and the catheter attachment mechanism. The attachment mechanism firmly connects the catheter tube to the chamber. The port chamber has a silicone membrane that can be punctured from the outside. This should only be done with specially sharpened needles, for example, the so-called gripper needle. This is intended to ensure that the membrane lasts for a very long time. If you pierce it with the wrong needle, the membrane will leak and then the port will leak. And that, of course, is a disaster. And actually, a port system is only meant for infusion. It is not supposed to be used for drawing blood, although it's done over and over again. It's also important that a port catheter is always blocked with heparin solution so that no residual blood clots form, which could lead to port catheter thrombosis. The surgical anatomy of the central veins. Now, when we think about how we place central venous access in port systems, we have to look at the anatomy. First of all, the clavicles are important because the subclavian vein is situated underneath the clavicle on the right and left side. Then, importantly, we need the deltoid muscle and the pectoral muscle because between them is the delta pectoral groove. And in this groove is the cephalic vein. Here, subclavian vein. As I said before, internal jugular vein on both sides, and the external jugular vein. The CVC is preferably placed into the jugular vein because with the jugular CVC, the risk of puncturing the lung and creating a pneumothorax is lower, and the subclavian puncture on both sides is just the second choice. That's where you puncture very shallowly underneath the clavicle at the lateral third point, and so you can reach the central subclavian vein as well. Briefly about the PICC line. The PICC line is a special type of central venous line that is inserted in the basilic vein. We see here in the diagram the basilic vein, which passes onto the upper arm into the axillary vein and then into the subclavian vein. This way, you can then create a peripherally inserted central venous line. In the past, this was also more commonly called a basilic central venous line.